Hello, welcome to this satellite session about capsulaser. Automatic capsulotomy is becoming now a major issue because capsulorhexis is the only one step that really we need to accomplish in order to create a much more controllable initial cataract surgery. From capsulotomy to problems, we have just a small red line that really makes the surgeon that has a problem with the capsulorhexis to fail the cataract surgery. So to control the capsulorhexis, to control its size, to control its shape, to control how it is performed, to be fast and to be controllable is indeed one of the major issues and major accomplishments that we have to get in the immediate future to implement our cataract surgery. So capsulaser is the topic. Capsulaser is a diode laser capsulotomy. Is, in my opinion, the best way to perform automatic capsulotomy today because it is cost effective, it is simple, it's light, we don't need to introduce anything in the eye that is abnormal. And I want to thank the panel members that have been invited to this capsulaser session to deliver their presentation and especially to deliver the experience and the perspective on this topic. I want to thank Richard Packard, Sheraz Daya, and Pavel Stodulka because they will share with me this session. And I want to invite Richard Packard, my dear friend from Windsor, to start. He's one of the leading surgeons in terms of capsulorhexis. He had a wonderful talk on the history of capsulorhexis, and finally, he's the worldwide expert in the topic. So, Richard, you are ready to deliver your talk, Selective Laser Capsulotomy, a better way to open the anterior capsule. Please, Richard.
I'd like to thank Professor Jorge Alió for giving me the opportunity to speak in this session. My subject will be Capsulaser, Selective Laser Capsulotomy, a better way to open the anterior capsule. And I have to declare an interest in this that I'm a consultant to Excellence, the company that makes the laser. So what is the problem that I believe selective laser capsulotomy can solve? And it is that we cannot deliver manually our goal for our capsulotomies in a consistent manner. That is, to create a chosen size in a perfect circle and in the desired centration. Otherwise, we end up with capsulotomies that look like this over time once the fibrosis in the capsule has taken effect. So why does this matter? Well, we know that the 360-degree coverage reduces the risk of early PCO because the lens optic is shrink-wrapped. A well-centered capsulotomy gives better IOL centration and less axial deviation and refractive change. And a capsulotomy that's too small or too large can impact on our nuclear removal. And this has been shown in many studies, some of which are highlighted here. And here we can see from these two pictures what happens when you have a lack of 360-degree coverage. On the left, there's PCO at 1 year with an asymmetric capsulotomy. On the right, where there is a capsulotomy with 360-degree coverage of the IOL at 3 years, there's no significant PCO at all. I'd like to thank David Spalton for these images. So what is out there to help us to try and achieve our goal? Well, you could use a capsulotomy ring as invented by Marie-Josée Tassignon, or a corneal marker, or you could have a microscope head-up display, or as is used with precision pulse capsulotomy, you could use the Purkinje images to center your capsulotomy, or use the apex of the anterior capsule with a femtolaser capsulotomy. Or also, you could use selective laser capsulotomy, as we'll see more of in a moment. So why use lasers at all for a capsulotomy? Well, they can make capsulotomies of a given size, which are truly circular, without the variables of the manual technique, as we've seen, in a given position, which can be useful for more complex cases, and with little risk of tear out during the capsulotomy. And also, they can be helpful, as we will see, in white cataracts. As we shall see, Capsulaser creates a selective laser capsulotomy with a much lower capital cost than the femtosecond laser, a lower cost per case than the femto, but also precision pulse capsulotomy, with no disruption to the surgical flow, using minimal space in the operating room, and with consistent accuracy of sizing, circularity, and centration. So how does selective laser capsulotomy actually work? Well, it operates through the absorption of the orange wavelength 590 nanometers laser energy onto a trypan blue stained capsule, converting type 4 collagen to amorphous collagen. The triple helix of collagen undergoes thermal unwinding due to disruption of the hydrogen bonds, which allows shrinkage. And we can see how the structure changes from the type 4 collagen above here to the amorphous collagen below. As the collagen undergoes this phase change, it creates the capsulotomy with a rim that has a high degree of elasticity and tear strength associated with amorphous collagen. And here we can see some scanning electron microscopy examples. The edge is rolled, and you can see where we have cut through the edge on the right-hand picture that there is the amorphous collagen. This laser is continuous, not pulsed like femto. It is scanned in a single circular pattern to create the continuous curvilinear capsulotomy in under 0.3 of a second. And we can see that here. The laser beam is being centered and the capsulotomy is created very quickly. How has the laser been investigated? There were preclinical studies carried out at the Singapore National Eye Centre in the Capsulaser labs established there. The preclinicals completed the utilization of over 2,500 porcine eyes and 150 cadaver eyes. There have also been comparisons made with manual femtocataract and capsulaser capsulotomies, as we'll see. We wanted to see how strong the edge was, and in a study published in the British Journal of Ophthalmology, we compared anterior capsulotomy techniques for continuous curvilinear capsulorhexis, femtosecond laser assisted capsulotomy, and selective laser capsulotomy. We were able to show that the capsulaser capsulotomy edge is strong and tear resistant, and when compared with flax and CCC, if CCC was considered to be 100%, flax was 70%, and capsulaser was 150% in terms of relative tear strength, and this was significant at P being less than 0.01. And this was a study that was used to achieve the CE mark, where we looked at the efficacy and safety of a new selective laser device to create anterior capsulotomies in cataract patients. And this was published in the Journal of Cataract and Refractive Surgery in 2019. The study consisted of 125 patients in two matched arms. The capsulaser arm had 63 eyes, the CCC arm had 62 eyes. The primary endpoint was capsulotomy precision, and we were able to show that statistically speaking, capsulaser was better in terms of sizing accuracy, circularity, and centration precision compared to CCC. And this was significant in all three of these parameters at P was less than 0.01. There was a secondary endpoint for safety, and no adverse events were found in either of the arms of the study. We also observed that capsulator capsulotomies were 100% free-floating, and also gave 100% 360-degree IOL coverage. We took the results from this study for capsulaser and compared them to published results for both flax and CCC for sizing, circularity, and centration. And you can see, if you look at the left-hand side of the slide, the capsulaser does better than both of these other two modalities for opening the capsule. And here we can see some typical examples of capsulaser capsulotomies after lens implantation with 360-degree coverage. The development of capsulaser has always been work in progress, so I'm now going to share with you some of the enhancements over the last couple of years. There has been enhanced microscope integration. The HD optics increase the diameter range from 4 to 5.5 millimeters in 0.1 millimeter increments. There's a better capsulaser mount. There's also a slide for the capsulaser to move it out of the way. There's now biome compatibility when the slide is present on the microscope. And there's also precision HD laser filters, including 532 nanometers. Let's have a look at these now in more detail. First of all, let's have a look at enhanced microscope integration. There's now compatibility with Leica and Harkstrite as well as Zeiss microscopes. There's a fully functional splash guard. There's also an objective ring cover, and also optimized laser capsulotomy algorithm to make the laser more efficient. Here we can see Capsulaser on a Zeiss microscope, and here Capsulaser can be seen on Harkstrite and Leica microscopes. With the optimized laser capsulotomy algorithm, we've been able to make the edge smoother and more accurate. As far as the new HD optics are concerned, they enable a large capsulotomy diameter range from 4 to 5.5 millimeters in 0.1 millimeter increments. There's minimal cortex adhesion at the capsulotomy rim compared to how it was previously, and there's less overlap region of the Capsulaser. The Capsulaser mount provides safe and secure attachments to Zeiss and Leica floor standing microscopes, and the benefits of this are that the console attachment minimizes Capsulaser system space requirements. The system, the fiber optic and the cables are all well protected, and when the microscope is moved, the Capsulaser remains connected and mounted, and this is important. There is now a Capsulaser slide that I stated. It has two positions. In the operational position, here we can see Capsulaser. It will be used to create the capsulotomy. There is a full field of view. However, when it's moved out of the way, it improves the surgeon's working space and also his microscope view. And this is compatible with all Zeiss OpMi and Leica M844 and HS900 series microscopes. And there is biome and resite compatibility with the Capsulaser slide attached to the microscope, as you can see here. And this works with the Zeiss Resite 500 and 700 and also with the Oculus Biome. The upgrade to optimal microscope visualization is achieved with new HD precision laser filters. And this leads to no visual distortion. There is full spectral definition with no discoloration and over 95% transmission with no noticeable loss. Microscope compatibility, as I say, with Zeiss, Leica and Harkstrite Molevedel. And precision filters are available for 532, 590 and 532 plus 590 nanometers. And this year, due to modulating the way that the laser performs and its settings, it is no longer necessary to have an optical patient interface. This will reduce cost, but it will also mean that the ability to focus the laser is much enhanced, and the surgeon's view also. Now let's see what happens as we prepare the eye for the laser. And first we're going to see an intumescent cataract. This is from a video by Pavel Stodulka. The first thing that we do is to inject the microfiltered trypan blue 0.4% solution. Its specific gravity is heavier than that at aqueous, so when injected slowly it drops down onto the surface of the anterior capsule and is left there for about 30 to 60 seconds. And then is carefully washed out, and it's important to do this. As you continue to do the washout, you'll see that an interesting feature becomes obvious, which is at the center of the capsule, which is also going to be coincident with the visual axis, there is enhanced staining of the capsule. And you'll be hearing more about this later on in this session. It's important now to overfill the anterior chamber with an optically clear solution of 2% sodium hyaluronate. So the chamber is nice and firm. We're now going to move on to the second stage, which is the focusing of the laser and centration. So now we can turn on the laser and the aiming beam, center it, and then fire the laser to create the capsulotomy. So the aiming beam is where the three little dots are. That's what's used for focusing. Then the circular beam is going to be centered on the area of enhanced staining. And once that's in position, you can see the capsulotomy is created in less than 0.3 of a second, with no effect on this intumescent cataract whatsoever. This is again a video from Pavel Stodulka, and he's just removing the capsular cap. You can see that the soft lens matter has been kept at bay. The procedure is now at an end, and the capsulotomy is well centered with good 360-degree coverage of the IOL. And here is the latest iteration of SLC, this time using a Thornton ring to help center the beam on the enhanced trypan blue staining area. Once you've got it in position, the foot pedal is depressed and the capsulotomy created. Over 60 surgeons in many countries have now treated over 6,000 eyes in a multitude of situations. We've seen standard cataract. It's also been done on refractive lens exchange, post-RK eyes, pseudoexfoliation, glaucoma, recessed globes, detached zonules, small pupils, and as we've seen, intumescent cataracts. And here we can see two typical eyes at 18 months post-operatively. Although there has been a YAG laser posterior capsulotomy required, the anterior capsule has remained very similar to how it was when it was created at the time of cataract surgery, with good circularity and minimal contraction. So in conclusion, SLC with Capsulaser has solved the problem of centration, circularity and size of capsulotomy. The edge of the capsulotomy has been shown to be more stretchable than either manual CCC or femtolaser capsulotomy. The capsulotomy time is now reduced to under 0.3 seconds. The long-term photos show minimal contraction of the capsulotomy edge. There is less axial IOL tilt and less refractive change because of the 360-degree coverage, and also a low cost per case and no interference in the surgical pathway. Thank you very much for your attention.
This is the case of a 58-year-old lady with previous implantable Collamer lenses who developed poor vision in her left eye. She had a central anterior subcapsular cataract and a high ocular scatter index. Her IOL master revealed long axial lengths requiring very low power implants. She also had 1.2 diopters of corneal astigmatism. The question was, could we provide her with her desire of visual freedom by giving her a full range of focus lens and also correcting her astigmatism? This is the surgical case. You can see that the cornea has been marked for a toric lens. 2 paracenteses are performed. This is methylcellulose on the surface of the eye. A Leicester pusher is used to prolapse the haptics of the ICL into the anterior chamber. The incision is being made, which is a 3mm incision. This is a small poke in the cornea to hydrate the cornea following surgery. The transconjunctival incision is made. And now trypan blue for the capsulaser portion of the procedure is injected under the ICL. This is quite a heavy liquid and stains the capsule uniformly. Following a minute, the trypan blue is removed using irrigation aspiration. And once this has been accomplished, then the ICL can be removed. This is the Daya ICL grasper forceps made by MSD, being used to grasp the corner of the haptic on the ICL, as you can see here. This I find is the easiest way to remove an ICL, and I've got a less pusher there to ensure that the ICL does not damage the corneal endothelium. This is capsule disc, the methylcellulose, being placed on the cornea, and a fixation ring. You can see the red circle for the capsulaser, and the focusing is now being refined before the foot pedal is depressed. And here is 0.3 seconds, and we've got ourselves a nice capsulotomy. Here I'm just doing a cortical cleavage hydrodissection, lifting up the anterior capsule. And then ensuring the lens is loose. Standard phacoemulsification takes place, and the lens is fairly soft and easy enough to remove. Well, following lens removal, bimanual irrigation aspiration is performed. You can see the nice blue circle at the edge of the capsulotomy. This I find very useful in identifying where I am. The remaining cortex is now removed. Viscoelastic is injected into the capsular bag. And this is an Zeiss 80 Torby toric monofocal lens being injected of power of 0.00 and a cylinder of plus 1.50. This is injected in the capsular bag. This is a hydrophilic acrylic lens which has very good optical properties as the astigmatism is corrected by the lens in a bitoric fashion. There's the lens in the bag, and it will be aligned up in the correct axis. More viscoelastic is injected into the sulcus now for the next lens, which is a Sulcoflex lens made by Rayner, and it's a plano trifocal piggyback lens. This is a very large lens and can be quite clumsy to put in. It's got extremely long haptics, and you see it's taking great care to make sure this stays in the sulcus, and those big long arm haptics can be quite challenging to manipulate and implant under the iris. It's a pity that the haptics are not stained another color to make them more visible. You can see that was quite hard to see, but it was above the iris. Anyway, that lens is now well centered, and that looks very satisfactory. The wounds are sealed, irrigation aspirations has already taken place here. And I'm seeing the superior incision as well. Post-op she was very pleased with a distance acuity of 6/7.5 and a near acuity of 6/12.
Thank you. Now I'm going to show to you what is my experience, my recent experience with Capsulaser. We have been working with automatic capsulotomy since many years, and 3 years already with the Capsulaser, and I have been from the beginning till now attending the large implementation that this technology has been making, and now what I'm doing just the day before yesterday is what I'm going to show to you. We have got the latest cases that we have done just to illustrate to you how do we use on practical and real life this technology. And please run the video because I will explain to you what is about our technique. Capsulaser has many advantages. The main one is its practicality. And now with the recent changes and improvements that have been made in the practical use of the technology, really centration, circularity, and the practicity has been very much implemented. So please go for my video, and I will show to you what we do now with this technology. So this is about the cases that we did this last Monday of this very week. I want to thank Sarah Laundry, my fellow, who was assisting me during these surgeries. It's a very easy control. You need to control only the capsulaser size because the energy and everything and all the other parameters are set up. This device is engaged to the microscope. It is simple. It's not bulky. Doesn't make heavier the microscope, and you can manipulate the microscope as before. This is one of the cases that we did last Monday. I'm talking about last Monday, and today is October 29, 2021. We marked, because this was a toric lens as well, the one that we were going to implant, the positive axis, and we are now just preparing the case for the surgery. We do 2 paracenteses, and now for one of the paracenteses, I use the Vision Blue, the trypan blue that we use from the company. We protect the epithelium because it's important to protect the epithelium, not to have any type of damage to the epithelium. It really doesn't matter that much, but it's not elegant. And we leave for 60 seconds the dye. 60 seconds with a small bubble that we use in order not to have any staining in the central endothelium. Then meanwhile, we are opening because we are going to do a coaxial vacuumicification. And now that we have been waiting for 1 minute, then we are just washing out the dye. This dye is being washed out. As you see, we have somehow edited this video, and from a given moment, we shall show to you the real images without editing. This is what you see following the wash out of the trypan blue. You see that you have the very center mark. This is unedited video, and now we are using the centration, and we are going to use the Thornton ring. That is a very simple device just to center the eye. We are centering in the most stained part of the capsule, which is coincident with the second Purkinje image. In other words, we are using the Purkinje image in order to guide our procedure. We are just showing to you how we use the Thornton ring, and now we are centering, and once that we feel that the center is there, then we push, and in just only 25 seconds, we do these 5 millimeter capsulases. Look at the perfect and how detached it is. We don't need to touch it. I usually eliminate it just with the vacuumicification, and as you see, it's totally free floating, and this is the elegant, nice, with very perfect borders, 5 millimeters capsulases that I like for my patients. Following this, I am just ready to continue with the surgery. I want to show part of the surgery just to show how resistant is this capsulasis. I'm rotating the nucleus. Now, this is a hard nucleus. I'm going to divide it with this technique. This technique is the one that we use with few choppers, and pre-chopping is my favorite technique in intermediate and hard cataracts, because in this way I can save a lot of time in my vacuumicification time. You see here how we are stretching just to show how elastic is the capsulasis, how much I am working just to bring the big fragments to the capsule. Look the elasticity, look the resistance, look the elegance and the centration, especially that we have of these capsulases. we progress. This part of the video obviously is edited, and you can see up and right where is the capsule. The capsule is rounded, stained, and the staining is more intense in the center, in the vertex of the crystalline lens, which is a landmark that indicates to you which is the second Purkinje image. In other words, centration can be done perfectly if you follow the first and second Purkinje images that are very well seen under the microscope. We're finishing with bimanual removal of the cortex, and now I'm ready to show to you a second case. The second case is again the same. We are, this is ones that we did staining. Staining is, remember, 1 minute for me, and we are 2 cycles, which is the external one, the internal one, and in that very center is the apex of the crystalline lens that we use as a reference, and with this and the first Purkinje image, then we are ready to deliver the laser. And you see again how much free floating is this capsule, how much is totally detached, how precise and rounded and elegant is this capsulorhexis. There's a third case in which we had a much small pupil. We are doing the capsulorhexis, and now we are doing the trypan blue. Once that we have cleaned the epithelium and wash out in order to protect the epithelium from this mark. You see that because the pupil was small, we are staining just the center, but even in this case, we have a clear image about what is the most stained part of the capsule, of the crystalline lens capsule, and because of this trypan blue, the intensity is really clear, and we can center in this very center that is highlighted by the high staining, and to use this second Purkinje image as the centration part, as the centration reference for our practice. Here we had this 5mm capsulorhexis, again, perfect. You see that we have only this point that was even that virtually done. We are removing it, and now we are ready for the different maneuvers that we do with different capsulorhexis. You see that we have a daily practice with this device. I use it in every one of my cases. We have a 100% success in our cases, in normal cases. We use also this technique in special cases, especially in hard cataracts or very shallow anterior chambers with 100% precision. This has changed totally our practice because formerly the development of this technique was hampered by some difficulties that now have been totally overcome. So capsulorhexis is the technique of my choice for capsulorhexis because the precision, because the regularity, because I can go from 4.8 to 5.5 millimeters at any diameter that I choose. It's a simple device, has minimal energy delivery in the capsule. I have no problems with epithelial metaplasia in the post-op, and especially it doesn't change my practice in terms of the removal of the cortex, because the cortex is not attached to the rims of the capsule, which has been made with the capsulotomy. So thank you very much, and indeed this is an ergonomic device that implements a lot my practice, and I'm sure that this will be a huge success when commercial. Thank you very much. Now we're ready for another video, which is from Pavel Stodulka about Capsulaser with no need for patient interface and new centration feature. He will show to us his practice, his experience. He's the one that has made more cases worldwide, and indeed I thank Pavel to be here today in this special satellite session of Capsulaser. Please run the video of Dr. Stodulka.
This presentation is going to be about contemporary Capsulaser with no need for patient interface and the recent advances on Capsulaser capsulotomy. Capsulaser is a compact laser which fits underneath of any contemporary microscope. It performs capsulotomy in a fraction of a second, and the capsulotomy has given diameter. It's circular, reliable, and strong. And the recent improvements of Capsulaser enables us to use this laser with no patient optical interface, which makes the centration easier and the procedure faster. First of all, we have improved the staining of anterior capsule with 0.4% of microfiltered trypan blue solution. And in 94% of eyes, we obtain intense blue central landmark of diameter 2 to 4 millimeters. This center dark spot, which we call center capsule landmark, has never been described in the literature. So what can we use this for? Perhaps for capsulotomy centration, which is not easy because of the eye asymmetry and tilt, different kappa angles, and different IOL positions. What we know is that Purkinje images are on visual axis, which is 0.3 millimeter nasal and 0.1 millimeter inferior from the mesopic pupil center, and biaspheric IOL center should be within 0.3 millimeters from visual axis, so the centration is crucial. So let's have a look how the Purkinje images and the central trypan blue capsule landmark coincide. And we have found out that the Purkinje images are right in the center of capsule landmark, providing the patient fixating. And the mean deviation from the Purkinje image and the center of capsule landmark is only 0.06 millimeters plus minus 0.05. So perhaps we can use this capsule landmark for centration of our capsulotomy. Design a study on this. This is a study on 117 eyes, which were divided into two groups. Group 1, a control group, 28 eyes, centration to the mydriatic pupil, and Group 2, 89 eyes, centration to the central trypan landmark. Anterior capsule was stained by 0.4% microfilter trypan blue, and then Capsulaser capsulotomy was performed, and Capsulaser capsulotomy deviation from IOL centrum and coaxial Purkinje images was measured and statistically proceeded. Regarding Group 1, the mean deviation from center was 0.24 microns, plus minus 0.09, and the IOL was covered 360 degrees, but not really symmetrically. Group 2, centration to the central trypan landmark. The mean deviation is smaller, only 0.14 millimeters, plus minus 0.06, and the IOL optic was covered really symmetrically by this capsulotomy. So the clinical result was obviously better with this Group 2.
The procedure begins with anterior capsule staining with proprietary trypan blue for 30 seconds. The dye is washed out by BSS or Ringer solution. And the anterior chamber is filled with OVD. The blue center is a landmark for capsulotomy centration. Capsulaser is a compact laser with a delivery system mounted under a microscope, which fits all different types of surgical microscopes. The laser performs capsulotomy in only 0.25 seconds, with a diameter from 4.0 to 5.5 millimeters in 0.1 millimeter increments. The contemporary version requires no surgical contact lens, which makes the procedure very straightforward. After the centration and focus, the circular capsulotomy is done. The central capsular disc is aspirated directly by the phaco tip. The cataract is removed through capsulotomy with the blue stained edge, which increases its visibility. The pressure of the capsular tension ring over the capsulotomy edge demonstrates its reliability and strength. The trifocal intraocular lens is being injected and OVD irrigated from behind its optic. The capsulotomy is perfectly centered over the trifocal lens optic at the conclusion of surgery.
To conclude, center triple blue capsule landmark can serve for capsulotomy centration, and this method is better over the centration to pupil center. There is no need for patient fixation during the procedure because we know that the capsule landmark is within 0.06 millimeters mean from optical axis. It's also suitable for manual capsulorhexis, and no PI capsulaser capsulotomy is easy and precise, and we are really happy we were able to simplify the method this way.
Well, thank you very much. And I think that we have a very good satellite session with Capsulaser. You have seen which is the latest way to use this technology without any other inconvenient fixation device. You need only a Thornton ring, a modified Thornton ring, very easy to manipulate, disposable, and you can use for 1 minute the strip and blue, which is indeed the material that stains the center so well, and in this way you can use the Purkinje image for the very first time to centrate directly by you the procedure. I want to thank Capsulaser for the support of this symposium, and indeed we have on the screen at this moment the opportunity to discuss with the users of this technology the latest opinion about that. So thank you very much, and I'm very happy to see Sheraz and Pavel. And just to explore your opinion, if you are there, you know, what is the rate of use that you have now of automatic capsulotomy? Do you use in every case, or do you select the cases? Which is your use in real practice of automatic capsulotomy with Capsulaser, Pavel?
Well, at my clinic, it's about half the patients with Capsulaser and half the patient with the femtolaser. I still want to, go both ways, but we lean more and more towards Capsulaser because it's so easier, and I don't need another doctor to perform femtolaser for me, or I am consistently faster and I don't need to move the patient from one OR to another OR. So I really fell in love with the recent Capsulaser procedure with no optical PI. I think that was a major innovation, and I'm really happy we achieved that. So I am also happy to hear today from Richard that there is over 60 surgeons worldwide with over 6,000 procedures with the Capsulaser. So I think this laser will get very popular.
What is your experience as well? Similar to Pavel's?
I've been using the Capsulaser intermittently. We're doing a lot more bilateral surgery at the moment, and unfortunately, they don't have different batch numbers of the viscoelastic that goes inside the eye. So for those patients, we've had to avoid doing using the Capsulaser to keep it consistent from one eye to the next. But I expect that it will be increasing our use as soon as that problem gets solved. I don't know about others on the panel, but we've been doing a lot more bilateral surgery because of COVID and self-isolating and so on. Our patients seem to like it. So as soon as we get that going, then we'll be able to do a lot more bilateral surgery and use of Capsulaser.
At my clinic, are also very common. I do it routinely, and again, it's so much faster with Capsulaser because you do not need to move the patient from one OR to another OR. So I'm completely in line with Sheraz.
Yeah, for me, the major advantage is the possibility to centrate for the very first time the capsulasis on the Purkinje reflex, because with the femto, which is a technique that is, in my opinion, probably the best till now, you had the possibility to center, but you never know where you are centering because you center in a place where it's very precise, but if you are in the visual axis or whenever other place, because the patients many times cannot centrate very well, and indeed the way in which you have to accomplish the vacuum in order to get the eye immobile makes a big difference in between what the patient is fixating and what you finally get. The second is about techniques such as the septo you introduce, another instrument inside anterior chamber. I dislike it because my incisions are very small, and definitely you don't have a point of reference as in manual capsulorhexis. I really have found that this new development of the centration point based on the staining of the trypan blue is a major issue. Is the only one technology in which you can really center in the Purkinje image, and this and the simplicity, the fast and efficient way to perform the capsulorhexis, the lack of extra space in your operating room, the lack of, and the no need to have a second doctor or another step more in your operating room theater that happens with the femto, which is, for all these reasons, not cost-effective, makes this instrument, the Capsulaser, in my opinion, an optimal device. Definitely, in my hands, it's very cost-effective. I'm not using on a regular basis the femto device because it is not cost-effective, and definitely we abandoned it some years ago because of this reason, not because we don't like it, but we love the use of the Capsulaser because the reasons I have mentioned to you, and especially now that we are in any stage of the development in which we really have a tremendous advantage. This is what is my opinion. I think that we have a tremendous future for this technology. And just to close this satellite session, do you want to say anything else, Sheraz? Just a closing remark.
I think that the points you made are absolutely spot on, in that we're not deviating anything from our regular cataract procedure, and it just makes the whole process much, much faster. So we were doing things in sequence, but actually when the trypan blue is sitting there, 30 seconds can be a long time to wait. But while that trypan blue is in the eye, we're making the incision, getting other bits ready, like putting the implant, getting the implant ready and loaded. And once that's done, we're ready to put the viscoelastic in, or to do the eye in and put the viscoelastic in and go forward. We find that the procedure is a lot faster than, say, doing a manual capsulorhexis or a femto procedure. So it really speeds things up. I think that's one of the benefits of Capsulaser, is it goes with the flow. It goes with what we normally do.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Pavel and Sheraz and Richard, even that Richard could connect now, for your outstanding videos and your outstanding role in the development of this technology. So thank you very much. And we hope that next year, in which we have another session on this technology, we shall offer even more implementations of it. Thank you very much. And the special satellite session is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.